Eric, short-term extension of the debt limit? Good,
bad?
I
think the whole country's sick of the short term.
Right.
That said, I think that there's not much of a choice. That's realistic. We don't have a choice. But we need to do something about that. Enough short-term answers, because they're not answers. They're not helping us. And I'm very jealous of that set that he is sitting in down in Florida.
Yeah, talking of climate change, we need a bit of climate change up here in New York. It's freezing.
It's hard not to be an environmentalist when you're sitting behind me on the bay here, Jonathan.
Moving on to other matters, Ed, with very little mention of foreign policy in the president's speech yesterday. I think there were about 2 sentences which amounted to: a decade of war is coming to an end, and we will stand by those seeking freedom and democracy. Surprised by that? And also, and the reality is, again, talking of political realities, a president can never choose when a foreign policy crisis comes up, can he?
Well, it does appear this is the idea of talking foreign policy yesterday. I wasn't surprised that we didn't hear a lot about that, because whatever Middle East policy in trying to work has been inconsistent in result. Clearly, the president wasn't going to mention Benghazi. So there was some of that. Clearly, the president, just like the president didn't mention unemployment and the $16 trillion in debt.
Eric?
Well, the Middle East,
the president's got... it's all very well to have an expansive domestic agenda, but suddenly something could happen with Syria. The UN Secretary General, by the way, has just said that there is, quote, stating the blindingly obvious, thank you, Mr. Ban Ki-moon, there is, quote, not much prospect of resolution of the Syrian civil war by diplomacy. I think he's about the last man on the face of the earth to come to that realization. But there's Syria. There's the ongoing nuclear ambitions of Iran and North Korea. And then we have what we've just seen all too bloodily in Algeria, is the rise of Islamic extremism across that whole region of North Africa, and the determination of those militants to target Westerners.
Yeah, I kind of find it a little bit ironic. I think a lot of people do that. When President Obama ran for president, he didn't talk much about it, and he had no experience at all. I think he's run a pretty good foreign policy program. I think he's dealt with some extraordinary situations across the world very well.